Tsumasho episode 4, another fantastic episode. It tried to get the tears out of me again. I'm wondering if there's going to be a single episode that doesn't get me emotional with this series. What a fantastic ending to this episode. And we're finally getting the stuff that I haven't seen yet. This whole scene where she gets to meet the guy, have not seen it in the manga. And I'm not really sure exactly where it is at. So I'm really wondering if they're pulling something forward from really far in the manga. Because yes, there was quite a bit of build up to this point, honestly, that I'm curious how they're going to shape it into the later parts. For those that have missed my previous videos, it's really hard to know what of this series is being skipped and what of it is being repurposed. And yes, up until this point, there is a lot of build up for the mother. For Taiki's mother, her new mother, there's a lot of build up for how she's kind of conflicted in her relationship with her daughter. And it's harsh stuff to get into, let's be honest. This lady is horrible to, not Takae, well, it is Takae, obviously, at this point, but Marika, her daughter, she's horrible to her and not really having much connection to her at all. Ever since the divorce, she has been very quiet to her daughter. She's neglecting her daughter. She is paying for her daughter to eat. She's paying for her daughter to have a home in. She's giving her the physical necessities, but at the same time, she's emotionally harming her daughter. And so this is one of those difficulty things to get into, really, is how much this lady is broken because of what she experienced with her parents. She's wanted this perfect family. She said it didn't need to be like super great, just enough to be happy. She wanted a happy family. And then her husband betrayed her and the family fell apart. She tried to make it happen and it couldn't happen and it fell apart. And now she feels like she's her parents. Now this mother feels like she's her parents. And then that just completely devastated her. And so it's like, you want to acknowledge that. But all these segments they've kind of been built up for this in the manga really hits on this idea that this mother, when she's away from her daughter, she's thinking about that. She's thinking about her daughter. She's actually thinking about Marika. And I'm not sure how they'll repurpose this into the later segments, but it really does. Like, there's a whole segment where they have a sports festival and the mother goes to a date instead. And the entire time she's on the date, she's thinking about Marika. She's thinking about her daughter. She sees a lovely couple with their child and they're walking the amusement park and she's thinking of Marika. She's thinking of her daughter. And there's always a sense of like, do you think she's going to finally go, you know, look, I shouldn't be here. I should be at the sports festival. And she doesn't. And it's so like, girl, please give me some reason to like you. And again, I like this. I like this nasty character that is extremely flawed that you have that empathy for. I always love stories where it challenges you to basically empathize with the character. That's what I say all the time about Mushoku Tensei. It's a story about empathizing. Can you empathize with the character that does so much wrong? And I want to empathize with her. And it really feels like at the end, and this is why it got me emotional, Takae empathizes with her. She used to be a mother. Takae used to be a mother. In her previous life, she was a mother. And so now that she's Marika, she's now realizing, and she knows full well, she acknowledges what this mother's doing. Despite the fact that she's evil, despite the fact that she laid a hand on her daughter, despite the fact that she's emotionally and in so many other ways abusing her child, all she's doing is providing physical goods. Despite all that, yeah, she still works hard. She's still amazing. She's still willing to say that and still at the end go, I could probably add a bunch more here, but I'm not. At least she did tell the guy, she was honest with the guy, that she gets mad at me. She does that. But she's strong and she works hard. All that stuff. And it's like, oh, it hurts. It really hurts. The guy's kind of creepy though. I will there's a side of me that kind of is afraid of the guy. I mean, that was kind of sweet, the whole little bit where the kid kind of opens the door and he's like, oh, it's okay. You like open doors, don't you? Yeah, you like opening doors. Yeah, it's so much fun. And then she's like, oh, so you like children? Well, let me show you my child. It's like, yeah, I didn't think that she was this big. A little bit of a shock there. Yes, obviously this guy didn't know that she had I think that they imply that he knew that she had a daughter, just not that old. Anyways, finally at least meeting him. But he seemed like, based on that interaction with that boy and now with Takae, like, it's a subtle hint, but I'm like, I kind of am. The moment that the mom left Takae with him alone, I was like, please don't be creepy. It's like, please don't be creepy, dude. Please don't go that direction. Please. Because yes, now they're implying that Takae has to leave and move with her mother to live with this guy somewhere far away. And this is another thing that's creating a possible divide between the families. It's possibly going to make it to where Takae cannot be with her old family anymore because they're moving so far away. I hate it. But again, hopefully when they move, he's not creepy. Please don't be creepy to Takae when you move. Please don't. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting little perspective there. And I love it. I love that Takae is able to, and again, it implied that she heard. It implied that the mother overheard it, or at least she turned and kind of had a little smile. I'm of two minds here. Yes, the first question mark is, did she really hear what Takae said? And then goes, oh my gosh, my daughter said so many nice things about me. But then that begs up the question, was she challenging her daughter? Was she seeing what her daughter would say? Not for the sake of, oh yes, I caught her saying things bad about me. Because she wouldn't want to ruin this chance with this guy. There is a thought, and again, based on what they've kind of skipped from the mother's perspective chapters so far, I almost wonder if she's trying to leave it up to her daughter. Because she feels guilty about neglecting her daughter, I'm going to let her break this if she wants to. I'm happy right now with this guy, but I've neglected her for so long, and this is sort of something that she has to do too. So I'm going to allow her basically to choose, do we do this? If she says something horrible about me, and the guy runs away from me, it's my fault. It's my fault. The guy knows. The guy knows. Like, he's literally revealing things to Takae that she doesn't even know about her mother. And again, that could partially be because she, based on the anime, this wasn't mentioned in the manga, based on the anime, she has forgotten a lot about her childhood. When the moment that she got her memories of her past life, she forgot a lot about her past childhood of Marika. And so it does seem like a lot of this information is coming to her for the first time. Now, granted, what time does she have before this to have been told that her mother had problems with her parents? But he has a lot of information, and that makes sense. It seems like Chika, the mother, she seems to be open about telling this guy about all of her woes. Like the scene in this episode, she literally trauma dumps him out of nowhere. I wanted to have a great family with this guy, and he left me. He betrayed me, and it's like this guy's sitting there going, yeah, great. So you want to talk about us? You going to tell me about your past relationships? Do you want to talk about us? That's weird. Pretty awkward. I almost thought he was going to break up right there. But yeah, again, seems like he is okay with the idea of having them live together. He's going to look for a place. He seems open to it. He's open to, Chika and her daughter. We'll see where it goes from there. If again, I'm hoping it's not going to turn to a creepy thing with him and Takae. But I think the main key thing that we do know is that it's going to separate them. Or it's going to suck. It's really going to suck. That means that going forward, there's going to be a lot of decision making at this point, what exactly they're going to do in their future. But anyways, that's that whole segment. What else in this episode? Great little moments with Mai and Aikawa, which is this new guy. She goes to meet him. There was a missed opportunity here with the anime adaptation because when Mai meets Aikawa the first time, again, he does mention the idea that he had a friend, and that friend was swallowed up by the ocean. The tides come up. Guy got taken away. He kind of is sitting there hoping that one day the guy comes back, that he just appears again at some point. There was a little bit in here where, yes, Mai hearing this and how hard he's working and everything and that he's staying around there, she admires his emotion around the whole situation, wishes to work harder because he wants to stay there even though it is dangerous in case that he can hopefully save somebody else. She respects that, admires his drive in that whole situation. As she's leaving, she ends up recalling that whole situation, and she says that it's similar to her own situation. She admires how much this guy, Aikawa, has mourned the loss of his friend, and she equates it to herself. She did the same thing. She mourned her mother for so long. But this is the whole situation that makes Mai appreciate the fact that she has a second chance with her mother. And this leads into what has already happened in the anime before, which is, yes, her coming home to finding her father and her mother and the coworker all sitting down playing cards. And that's what triggers her, like with the festival, to shut herself up because she wants the family to be together. She's coming home with this, like, I'm so happy with the second chance. Aikawa lost his friend, mourned it. I lost my mom. I got her back. I want the three of us to be together forever. I don't want to miss this opportunity this time. I don't want to squander this. And so when she comes home and finds there's some other lady in her house, that's why she gets mad right there. That's that trigger point for that. That's what makes her so upset, what the anime has at the festival, seeing her father with somebody new. It's fine, though. But yeah, Mai has her first date. Again, for those that have read the manga, know that it's not her first date. Her first date didn't go well. But her first date, showing Aikawa around the city. Really cool little moment where he does kind of question the idea of marriage. And through her own experiences, knowing how hard they work together, her father and her mother work together to kind of overcome issues, kind of inspires that. Kind of opening the door to her sort of showing Aikawa how great marriage is. There's a great candidate across the table from you. It's like Mai's talking about how great marriage is. There's a candidate right across the table from you. We'll see. But yeah, he wants to go on another date, and that's when she texts Takae, and Takae is like, I can't tell the father. I can't tell him. He can't take it. He can't take the idea of his daughter having a date. Which, yes, again, for those that missed the skip content video that I made, Mai had a bad first date, and when she came home, the father was literally ready to take the guy to court. Like, he's like, let's go to a lawyer. Did he do something horrible to you? We'll take him to court. The father's very protective like that. Like any father, right? But yeah, that all leads into Takae talking about how her mother comes home lately a lot happier than usual because of her dates with this new guy. Get to see the bento shop and the mother working. But yeah, that all leads into looping back to what I talked about at the beginning of the episode. Everything with the mother working at a bento shop. Super rude. Even the guy acknowledges that, yeah, when I first met you, you were super rude. You were super mean. But yes, it was obviously after she broke up with her husband, so obviously she's going to be in a bad mood. But it seems like it carries on. It's like everybody but with her boyfriend, she's horrible with. Yes, the customer that they showed in the episode was nasty. Anybody working customer service can relate to that. I've been in that position. It's not fun. Being customer service is literally the worst job ever. As much as I enjoyed helping people, and having those customers that even if they did start off kind of standoffish or possibly aggressive, being able to help them with something, it's very rewarding. But there's some people they're never happy. They're never happy, and it just ruins your entire day. That's why whenever I deal with people that are in customer service and they feel like they are, like if I'm going to a store and I deal with a customer service rep, I try to be as respectful as possible because I know what they're going through. But even if they are nasty, I just recall back to my own experiences and go, yeah, they probably had a bad customer. Anyhow, I think that's everything. Again, that all ties back into her meeting with the boyfriend and talking about her trauma with her family and her husband, her ex-husband, and how she tried so hard to make a good family, which really sucks. It really does suck. I think that's especially something that a lot of people can kind of relate to when they have a broken family and they try so hard not to have that broken family just for it to kind of affect them in some way. It's such a psychological thing. It's something that so many people can't get over. Some people can. I think it's like any trauma. I talked about this recently with a recording. It's like everybody deals with trauma differently. They deal with experiences like this differently. Some people, they cope with it. Some people own it. Some people take it and they wrap their arm around it and they just go, you're not going to control me. Some people, they just can't get over it. Sometimes it's too much. It's not that they're weak. It's just that it's something that just cannot be overcome by them, at least alone in a lot of cases. And it sucks when that repeats. And I think that's the great thing that makes you, or at least me, empathize with the mother. As much as I think that she's a horrible mother, again, all she's doing is providing physical goods for her daughter. She's abusing her mentally, physically, and through neglect. And that's some of that literally for a young child, neglect, ignoring is some of the worst type of abuse. Aside from probably physical, it's probably in a lot of cases worse than physical abuse, is emotional and neglecting abuse. The idea of just not being there for them, just isolating them. It's super bad. But again, at least there's a little bit of empathy there. And the idea of how much this whole experience has broken her, it's destroyed her. Not that it makes it right. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't make it right at all. Doesn't. But at least I understand her. At least now I understand her, and I hope that that'll open the door to something really great. And again, it sucks that it feels like we might be skipping a lot of her perspective. Those scenes where you see that she's thinking about her daughter constantly, wondering if she's making the wrong decision. But I think they could still possibly somehow rope that back in. I really do hope the following episodes, we really do kind of circle back to that stuff. Show maybe a beginning segment of the next episode with her perspective. Because there is a reveal coming up here soon that should pretty much spearhead that. And I'm curious how they take it. But again, that's all stuff that's going to be getting up ahead, and I'm really curious how they're going to play it out because they've moved so much stuff around, it's very hard to tell. So we'll see if they can pull it off. So far, I've been really, really liking it despite the changes, so I think this has been a fantastic adaptation. I think the way that they've kind of condensed things, kept it very concise, and not so much skip, but really hit the points at different times in a way that it kind of fits, has been doing really great. So that said, that's my thoughts on episode 4 of Tsumasho. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button to get all my content. I do news reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's MH, pretty much here. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. If you like this content, you want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it if it does. Until next time, y'all take care.